Hello and welcome to Dad Life TV. My name's Josiah, and today we're going to be looking at 20 of the most unexpected things that have been thrown my way in the past few weeks as a new dad with a newborn baby. I'm going to start with some of the more cute, unexpected things, and I'm gonna move on to the more weird and gross stuff later on in the video. But all of this is stuff that I did not see coming. Number one, my baby loves showers. It's a bit of a mission for us to get a bath organized because we don't have one in our bathroom. And so one day out of laziness, we attempted a shower. I just had my daughter in the crook of my arm and she loved it. Now, I'd never heard of showering your baby. I thought it was unsafe or a bad idea. I thought you just had to bath them. But showering is way better because we got a shower anyway, so perfect. And so now whenever there's a particularly impressive nappy blowout, which is exactly what it sounds like, where poo blows out and goes everywhere it shouldn't, we just jump straight in the shower. Number two, the STARTLE reflex. So babies are born with the STARTLE reflex where if they kind of drop, they throw their hands up, I guess to protect their head. It's super cute. But one thing I didn't expect was how attentive she would be to so many different sounds at such a young age. So in the first couple of weeks, our girl was very sensitive to abrupt noises. We would sneeze or cough or say something a bit loud or maybe bump something and she'd be like, meh, in her sleep and look towards where the sound was, which was something I didn't expect and very cute. Number three, my confidence holding babies. With my daughter, I got comfortable holding her very quick. Whereas in the past, whenever I've held a newborn, I felt like I was always going to break them. I guess I had a sneaky little fear that I would be completely out of my depth as a new dad, but to my surprise and my satisfaction, I'm only mostly out of my depth, so that's good news. Number four, babies are super flexible. They're very robust and resilient, and our baby in particular likes to stretch a lot. She's sticking arms all over the place. She's stretching her body entirely out. But you can literally pull their limbs all over the place, and I swear it isn't child abuse. They're just really flexible. Number five, this baby of mine grunts a lot. And a lot of the time, they're not particularly babyish grunts either. They're kind of aggressive. She gets her grunt on when she's hungry or when she's doing a poop. She also grunts a lot in her sleep. I don't know if that's sleep pooping, but either way, I didn't expect her to grunt so much. Number six, my daughter loves lamp. So this is the chair in which Olivia gets most of her feeds from my wife, Alyssa. We call it the boob chair. And when Olivia is chilling milk drunk post feed, she stares up at this lamp and just smiles the most ridiculous smile.
Every moment, every breath you take, I choose you.
And so I've concluded that my daughter loves lamp.
I love lamp. Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it?
I love lamp. I love lamp.
Number seven, so many hiccups. Even in the womb, literally every day, fetus Olivia would be getting the hiccups. But since birth, Olivia's also got the hiccups at least once a day. So many hiccups. Hiccups galore. All right, that's some of the cute stuff. You'll notice we're only up to number seven and we're moving on to the gross / weird stuff. So fair warning, if you're somewhat squeamish, too bad. Number eight, let's talk about poop. The first few poos are like black tar, molasses, sticky, like alien goop. Apparently she was getting out some of the weird stuff from the womb, but it was kind of like black chewing gum almost. Number nine, on the topic of poos, I'm surprised and delighted to find that none of the poos she's done so far are particularly smelly. In fact, some might argue it doesn't really smell that bad. I hear that when they start eating solids, that's when you are in for some bad news in the pants. Number 10, babies smell delicious in general. It's like new car smell, except biological. If you had to define the smell, it's pretty much the smell of regurgitated breast milk in the form of baby vomit, combined with digested breast milk in the form of baby poop. Number 11, milk oversupply results in rock hard boobies. My wife Alyssa was fortunate enough to have an oversupply of breast milk, but I was amazed to discover that it is actually possible to have too much. The most amazing thing about this oversupply of milk was the fact that it made Alyssa's boob, one boob in particular, rock hard. Which leads me to number 12, frozen nappies. It turns out having overly full boobies is kind of painful. So to help ease the pain, the application of ice is helpful. And the advice that we got was to wet some nappies, freeze them, and then use those as ice packs. So I have one here for you. And then, I don't have particularly big boobs, but you get the idea. So I didn't expect to be putting nappies in the freezer, but why not? And on the topic of frozen things, it gets even weirder. Number 13, frozen condoms. So to put it plainly, the vagina gets somewhat destroyed during childbirth. So the advice that we had was to fill condoms up with water, tie them off, and then freeze them. So here's one I prepared earlier. It's a bit misshapen, but as you can see, it takes a particular shape, and that shape is quite good for relief in the downstairs regions. Now I bet that some of you are wondering, does it go in? And no. The icy condom remains outside and sits there like a friendly ice pack for pain relief and to help swelling go down. So yeah, I didn't expect to be making condom water balloons and putting them in the freezer, but why not? Number 14 is an unexpected revelation. I know lots of people that have had multiple children and yet they're still squeamish about things like blood, poo, wee, vomit, and all manner of bodily functions. Nothing is sacred after having been at the birth, after having experienced nappy blowouts with poo everywhere, after having the baby wee on you and vomit on you. It's amazing that this tiny person can do such big farts. And I'm not suggesting vulgar talk and unnecessarily private things being brought into the light, but I'm just meaning like a casual acceptance of the fact that these things happen with our bodies. But anyway, maybe I am the weirdo. Number 15. Epidurals are overpowered. When I say overpowered, I'm thinking of a video game where there's some item that's just way too strong. If you don't know what an epidural is, it's when the woman gets a needle in the lower spine and drugs get injected straight in and literally all the pain disappears. I just couldn't believe it. My poor wife had gone a little bit feral dealing with the pain of the contractions, and it was pretty stressful and pretty heated. And then she gets the epidural and suddenly it's back to normal. I literally had a nap. She literally had a nap in the middle of labor because all the pain just went. Blew my mind. Number 16, the head folds in half when it's coming out. Now I knew that babies' skulls aren't fully fused, that there's like a little soft spot if you touch them on the top of the head, and I think there's one at the back too. And that's because the skull is in a few pieces so that it can get squished a bit, making it easier to come out of the birth canal. But I didn't realize how much it gets squished. It was literally folded coming out. I honestly was like, is she alive? Like, can that happen to her head and she still be alive? Number 17, the experience of cutting the umbilical cord. So as you may know, it's often the dad's privilege to cut the umbilical cord. And so I was stoked to be able to do that. It was kind of like cutting rubbery calamari. So it wasn't a clean cut through. You were kind of sawing at it to get through it. Number 18, on the topic of umbilical cords, part of the umbilical cord stays attached and then falls off at 10 to 15 days old. It's kind of just hanging there on the belly button like an old scab, and then eventually it'll do exactly what an old scab does and it just falls off. Number 19, the placenta. Now, if you don't know what a placenta is, it's basically the thing that gives all the nutrients to the baby in the womb, and it actually comes out after the baby. I'm gonna show you a photo of it, and it's pretty gnarly, so fair warning. Placenta image coming in 3, 2, 1. They look like giant gnarly pieces of alien steak. I've heard that some people eat their baby's placenta, which is super weird, but I've got to say it does actually look pretty nutritious. Number 20 is that doctors take the risk of infection very seriously for babies under 4 weeks old. Our daughter Olivia had a bit of a choking fit a couple of weeks ago, and it took her a while to get her breathing back to normal, so we took her into the emergency department. Turns out she went back to normal pretty quick and she was fine, but they saw a couple of things that made them slightly nervous that she might have an infection. And so as a result, they did a million tests, including blood tests and giving her a cannula, which is sticking a bit of plastic into her arm so that they can quickly administer drugs. And that was all super distressing because we're seeing our baby get poked and prodded, and we're also worried, does she have an infection? What the heck's gonna happen? But apparently they just don't take any chances, because if there is an infection in a baby that small, it can move really fast. Fortunately, in our case, she was completely fine, so we spent a day in hospital and experienced all that trauma for no real reason. But I was just amazed at how seriously they took it, which I guess is a good thing that I'm grateful for. Okay, so that's it. That's been 20 of the most unexpected things that I've experienced and had thrown at me in the first month of being a new father. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, hit like on this video, give me some juice in the YouTube algorithm. I'd love more people to see what I'm sharing about being a new dad. Also subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified when I make a new video. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.